Let's do Kaveh. Kaveh. There's my precious baby.
I've taken a look at your proposal. It's much better than the ones you showed me before, but I'd still like to make some changes.
Oh, come on, not again. Isn't this the 6th proposal I've shown you? What's your issue this time?
It's a bit hard to put into words, but the design still doesn't look quite right to me.
I have to say, that's a terribly vague and unconvincing explanation. Please enlighten me. What would feel more right to you?
For starters, don't you think this roof is jutting out a bit too far from the top? It looks almost like the head of a fungus. This door, too. I don't think it needs to be nearly this large. If you could reduce it to around my height, you could use the leftover materials to construct a few more rooms.
The roof and the door are the most fundamental parts of the building. If you them, then what would be left of the design? Even if the soul of the building won't be lost, all traces of architectural style would be gone. Anyone with the slightest inkling of architectural knowledge would leave it alone.
Oh, I understand the principles of what you're saying, of course, but the truth remains that I'm still a bit unhappy with the design as is. Is there anything else that you can do? Oh, actually, I just got an idea. Can we get rid of all the extraneous sections on the roof so the whole design will just be one vertical structure, similar to that of a tree trunk?
What?
Don't architects often say that symmetry makes everything more balanced and pleasing to the eye? This way, the proportions will be completely balanced.
I really don't know how you managed to come up with such a ridiculous idea. Wait, don't tell me. Someone hired you specifically to commission me and put me through the ringer? Come to think of it, though, I don't think I've gotten on anyone's bad side recently. Anyway, that's it. I will not be working on this commission anymore. Goodbye. Maybe you can find yourself some other genius who will be able to satisfy your demands.
Hey, young man, please wait!
This cafe just walked directly past me. Excuse me.
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever. Oh, hey. I wasn't expecting to run into you here.
Oh, he's so pretty.
Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Don't listen to anyone who says that drinking is an elegant pastime. It's no good for your health. So you saw that, did you? I thought I was in the clear. I made sure to double check that nobody I knew was around.
Literally on top of your shoulders.
Anyway, thanks for looking out for me. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm used to it by now. Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, I'll have a glass of wine, same as last time. Do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine and a glass of juice coming right up.
I think everyone, including the traveller, forgets he's 300 years old.
Well, I really appreciate it. Arguing with a client is not a good look for me. If word gets out, other potential clients might be afraid to work with me. That guy, though. What was he even going on about? All those ridiculous demands of his? He's just a blabbering fool trying to act like a know-it-all. Another glass, please, boss. I'm not leaving today till someone has to carry me out.
You got it, sir. I gotta say, though, it almost feels like you're saying that every other day now.
It really is every other day that you run into a client who knows nothing about construction requirements or architectural style. If this was in the past, I'd never have gone through 6 whole drafts trying to accommodate the client's preferences. Perhaps getting used to this just means that I've grown numb to it. I've worked on so many projects since graduation, and none of them have been approved at the first pass. I would spend a lot of time altering my designs, and by the time the clients were finally satisfied, all my passion and enthusiasm would be gone. It feels like I'm straying further and further from my artistic vision with every change I have to make. I suppose, though, that just sticking to your guns and completely disregarding other people's feedback would also not be a good thing. All of this makes for a real paradox, one that particularly crosses up in my work, too. In the end, what is the true meaning of art? Should I see it as a divine gift of inspiration from the gods, or an expression of the light of my own wisdom?
Here's your drink. How are you already spouting nonsense after just one glass? Your tolerance is usually much better than that.
Boss, what do you think is the meaning of art?
The meaning of art? Really, my friend, who in Sumeru understands art better than you? Anyway, I don't know about art, but I do know that I'm interested in business, and some patrons are waiting to be served. So, you'll have to excuse me for now. Just holler if you need anything.
What do you think, traveler? Exactly. So our thoughts on the meaning of art are rather similar. In Sumeru, especially Sumeru past, the arts are not a popular discussion topic. Trying to talk about the arts is basically the key to killing any conversation. It's too bad that I'm not in my best form today. Otherwise, we could have talked about this for a little longer.
Let's go with that one.
Sounds great to me. I don't even want to think about this project anymore. But what should we do? It's probably not a good idea to just drink until I pass out here. Huh? Where did that come from? I mean, it's not like it's some kind of secret. You probably already know some bits and pieces of my past. My mother is also an architect. I've always adored her drawings, and when I was young, I used to sit next to her and watch her bring all kinds of buildings to life on paper. You could say my interest in architecture just naturally grew with time. Perhaps. In fact, I have also seen my mother argue with her clients, but she would always quickly find the motivation to return to her work. Unfortunately, I've barely had any contact with her since she remarried and moved abroad. Even if I wanted to ask her about her ability to stay positive after an argument, it would seem rude to barge into her life again over something as trivial as that. I did remember something else, though. When my mother left, she only carried some small personal luggage with her. She left most of the belongings in the house to me. At the time, she even told me that it would be great if I could learn a few lessons from her life experiences, so my life and career could go a little more smoothly. I hadn't quite come to grips with my emotions, and didn't really have it in me to go through any sentimental items. So I just packed anything with memories away in a box, and haven't reopened it since. It's been a really long time. Now that so many years have passed, maybe I have finally developed the maturity I need to face those memories without losing my mind. Yeah, I should dig it out and take a look. Huh? Sorry, I've had too much to drink and wasn't thinking clearly. You're right. I should do these kinds of things with the support of a friend. Speaking of that, I can call you a friend now, right? Either way, thanks for reminding me that I can invite you to come along. Had I just gone back by myself, it would have looked like I'm deliberately trying to keep things from you. Ugh, thinking too hard about the words is giving me a headache, so I'll just give it to you straight. Thanks to your advice, I have decided to put my current projects on pause for now, and spend some time trying to rekindle the passion for my craft. If you want to stick around and see how this will turn out, you'll be sure to encounter some bits and pieces of my past. Do you think you'd find that too boring? All right, then let's head back together. I mean, you already know where I live. Who knew the day would come when I too would have some friends over? Let me see. Should have tidied up the place before I left the house this morning. Well, Haytham shouldn't be home now either. He's usually in the records room at this time of the day. Anyway, there's no more time for drinks. I'll go take care of the bill.
Banana. Let's go. Go home with Kaveh. Oh my god, the best quest. Still called our Haytham's home.
All Haytham isn't in, so feel free to sit wherever. I'll bring out the box. Oh, nothing. I just didn't realize how much time had passed. The box is pretty dusty, which means it's already been a while since I've moved into this place. And many years since my mother moved to Fontaine. I'm happy for her. I hope she'll be able to find happiness there. She raised me all by herself after my father passed away. It definitely wasn't easy for her. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what I packed into this box. What are all these things? Oh, I remember now. This is a drawing I made in Port Ormuz. Obviously, I wouldn't call it anything special now, but I was less than 5 years old when I made this drawing. That's more than 20 years ago. You could say it's pretty good for a child of that age.
He was less than 5, but more than 20 years ago.
I suppose I do have some level of artistic talent, right? Criticism and self-doubt have always been a part of the artistic process. Without criticism, there can be no improvement. It's normal for me to question my abilities from time to time. I admit that I may have spent a little too long questioning myself this time around, but as you know, the heart tends to dwell on whatever it pleases. Anyway, never mind. The more I talk about it, the less confident I feel. Let's see what else we have in the box. Ah, my building blocks! It's been years since I've last seen these. When I was a kid, I used to stack them super high. You could even stabilize the tower to keep it from tumbling over. Oh, and this blueprint. I made it by copying my mother's sketch. The aspect ratio is horrendous. It's still technically the first blueprint I made myself, though. I was super proud of myself when I finished it, and put it in the same pile as my mother's sketches, hoping she'd notice and compliment me for my good work. Unfortunately, my mother didn't realize that I had put it there. When she had a meeting with a client the next day, she handed my blueprint to him by mistake. The client was completely confused by this new blueprint, but apparently he felt too tongue-tied to question such a famous architect. It was only a few days later that he finally gathered up the courage to pay my mother a visit. The door in this blueprint is even taller than the roof. Is this supposed to be part of the design? My mother took me with her to personally apologize to the client several times. She didn't scold me about it in private, though. Instead, she went over all the steps required to draw a good blueprint. I was very patient throughout the whole process. I still remember it like it was yesterday. Let's see, is there anything else left in this box? Huh. What was this again? Ah, this is my mother's notebook. She used to write and sketch in it all the time. When I was a child, I used to be super fascinated by this notebook, and always pestered my mother to let me read it. After asking her a few times, she told me that I could read it as long as I could guess the password. Huh. Wonder why she didn't take this notebook with her. Did she leave it to me on purpose? If only I could. I never managed to guess the password. Hey, it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of inspiration. That's what we need to guess the password. Who knows? Maybe this time something will click in my head, and the answer will just present itself. Let me think. What could it be? I could tell what you were thinking. Don't worry, I tried all the easy guesses a long time ago. I've tried my name, my father's name, my mother's name, my grandparents' names on both sides, and all of our birthdays. I've tried every name and number remotely related to my family. I've even tried stuff like love you Kaveh, take care, and yours truly. I've tried every cheesy phrase and well-wish in the book. This lock has refused to budge. I wouldn't try that route again. I have a hunch that it won't be that simple. Also, if she really did use something like that, she'd never hear the end of it from the folks over at Harabatot if they ever found out. So we could find someone who was close to my mother and see if they might know anything? See what you're saying, but who should we talk to for that? My mother was never really the one to be social. My father was the one with more friends, but all those connections were severed when he died. Let me think. Is there still someone at the academia who would know my mother? Ah, actually there is someone. Professor Zaha Hadid. Huh, you've never really heard of her? She's a famous Gashara scholar, a leading expert in formal garden design. My mother studied under her as a student many years ago. Professor Zaha Hadid published many works during her career, so I was able to learn a lot by studying her essays. If there's anyone who still remembers my mom, it'd be her. She's older now and is no longer teaching at the academia. But if I remember correctly, she spends most of her time around the Bimarstan area. Let's go take a look. We might run into her if we're lucky.
I just love how we can just always access the office, but not the bedrooms. I would love to see the difference in how they decorate. That would be cool. Oh, Ethan probably got nothing but a bed.
What am I supposed to do now? Forget it. I'll just head back. Taimari, what are you doing here?
Oh, it's you. Good to finally see you again. I came into the city to buy some experiment reagents, hoping to bring them back with me to Gandharvaville. But as soon as I got here, I noticed someone banging on Cyrus's door. You've all heard of Cyrus, right? He's an ex-sage and Sino's adopted father. I was thinking about going over to ask what's happening. That granny over there may appear old and frail, but her vocal cords certainly sound loud and healthy as ever.
Granny?
Yeah, she's just over there. You can go check out the situation yourselves in a moment. Kaveh, were you at the tavern?
I had a quick drink or two. Can you still smell the alcohol?
Drinking in broad daylight. Really? You want to pass out by the road and get run over by a sumpter beast like some mindless fungus, huh? And you, traveler? You didn't try to stop him?
Not my job too.
You look like a wreck, Kaveh. What happened? Are you feeling down again? You know what? I'm hosting a meal at Paradise PI tomorrow evening. Do you want to come?
Huh? Oh, I had no idea. Let me think for a moment. I'll come if I can find some time.
All right. Then I'll plan on reserving 2 seats for you. I'll be heading back to Gandharvaville for now. I have a feeling that argument over there is going to continue for quite some time. It might be best if we don't get involved.
Granny who lives nearby. Let's go take a look.
Hey, he never said she lived nearby, just that she was shouting.
Ha! So, plan on keeping yourself locked in there, huh? Fine by me. You're not going to come out, then I'm not going to leave. My tomato was growing so well. It had all the potential to become the best tomato this year. And you cut it straight from the vine.
I already told you I had nothing to do with it. Why would I take a tomato that still waits from ripening? You'd have to be awfully green as an investigator to think it was me. You see, the word refer to both the color of the tomato and the fact that your skills could use some.
No wonder where Sino got his puns from.
Out and face me, you coward!
You're out of your mind. If I've actually done something wrong, then get up, Masha, and pull me out by force, why don't ya?
Oh, why you?
Professor Zahahadi?
And who are you? Oh, Kaveh. Guess he's seeing you here. How long has it been? Come on, get over here and let the professor take a good look at you. Not bad, not bad. You've grown taller again.
Professor, what's going on here?
It's no big deal, really. A few of us old scholars got bored in our retirement and decided to put together a vegetable growing competition. At the end, whoever loses will have to go up on stage and do a performance for the winners. Which brings us to our current predicament. My tomato was sure to win until a certain someone decided they couldn't bear to lose.
Hey, don't try to defame me in front of the kids. If we're airing out each other's dirty laundry now, then why don't we talk about you sneaking into Janat's garden the other night?
Lucky for you, seeing these youngsters come to pay their respects today has put me in a better mood. I'll let you off the hook. For now. Come on, let's go. We'll take our conversation elsewhere. He doesn't need to be a part of it.
Yes, of course.
Is Farnak still doing well?
Yes, as far as I know. She left for Fontaine some time ago and started a new life for herself. She's still doing work related to architecture, though.
Ah, yes. I did hear about that. Did that upset you at all?
No, not at all. She's already sacrificed a lot raising me as a single mother.
That's good to hear. Your mother did struggle quite a bit those few years. It's probably a good thing that she found a new place to call home. Sometimes I wonder if things were harder for her because she was so beautiful. People were always drawn to her beauty first, only to realize she had a sensitive and vulnerable heart underneath. She was still quite young when she first joined my class as a student. Beautiful and radiant with her golden hair, yet quiet and single-minded. She seemed like a lass from some aristocratic house who was seeing the outside world for the first time. She had to make a lot of drastic changes in her life to raise you on her own. Even during her time in the academia, she was a thorough perfectionist. If she was unsatisfied with something she had made, she'd insist on redoing it, even if I was perfectly happy with it. She had many admirers, and they'd always fill up the first few rows of seats, hoping they could get closer to her sitting in the first row. If it were any of my other classes, you'd have found nobody sitting in the front. But every time I saw her, she was always in that same rigid pose. She she'd have one hand on her forehead with the other clutching her pencil. Her eyebrows would be knitted in a frown as she concentrated on the blueprint in front of her.
I'm sure she had many difficult moments in her life. How did she cope with the stress?
I'm not too sure. She never talked about such things with me. She rarely opened up to other people, you know. I do remember one time, though, when she got into a heated argument with a friend. She said something I found very memorable. She said, "True art cannot be understood, but as an artist, I wish some people could understand its meaning and value." If you ask me, that's probably the greatest source of pain for geniuses of their craft. It's extremely hard for them to find someone who can truly understand their ideas.
So that's how it is. I wonder if the password could be... I tried both just now. Seems those aren't it either.
What are you trying to do?
My mother left her notebook to me, but it has a password and I haven't figured out what it is yet. I'm trying to learn more about her so I'd have a better chance at cracking the code. Thank you for all that you told us.
It's the least I can do. Talking to youngsters like yourself makes me feel younger too. Honestly, looking at you now, I can see how much you resemble her. It's almost as if she's standing right in front of me again. Your personalities are quite alike too. You're both stubborn and both a little awkward. Of course, I'm sure the similarities are mostly superficial. But so long as you continue to harbor those traits, you'll find a lot of difficulties in your work. I've taught a lot of students over my career, and in my experience, very few genius architects of Ksharawar ever found happiness for themselves. They would know exactly what they want to express and fight for it tooth and nail, which inevitably led to arguments with their clients. Some clients would choose to respect the architect's vision or just let the argument go because of the architect's reputation, but those are the rare ones. When Farnak first graduated, she was getting into arguments with her clients nearly every single day. I think it only got a little better when she met your father.
I see. But could he understand the designs my mother made?
No, I think they were probably beyond him too. But despite that, he still stayed next to her, listening to her joys and sharing in her sorrows. Farnak had many admirers, but she ended up choosing your father. His support probably played a part in that decision.
So instead of understanding, perhaps all we need is just companionship. Huh. It worked.
Oh, was that the right password?
Yes!
Then you should be on your way, child. Find a quiet place and see what she wanted to say to you. Being the awkward person that she is, I suppose there were many things that Farnak could never say out loud. Instead, she probably left them in her diary, hoping that they would make their way to you one day. If you're ever in a mood to chat again, just come and find me here. You're always welcome to discuss architecture topics with me as well.
Thank you so much, Professor.
There's no need to be so formal. I'll let you kids go. It's time for me to take another stroll around the vegetable garden.
I wonder what my mother could have written about.
They all say Zahadli's class is the toughest, but I think it's actually not too bad. On the other hand, though, structural mechanics is definitely a pain, no matter how you try to approach it. I doubled down and managed to get through it in the end. I met someone special. At first, I didn't think much of him, but now, I feel very happy whenever I get to spend time with him. We decided to name our son Kaveh. I don't think a younger me would have ever imagined forming such an intimate bond with another person. Back then, I lived only in the shadow of myself, as well as that of the dream in my heart. The bad news came. And even though it's been several days now, I still can't bring myself to come to terms with what happened. My eyes are so swollen, it's hard to see. What if they're all lying to me? And this is just a long, cruel dream. But I have to face reality. I still have someone to take care of. No matter what happens, I'll do my best to raise my son on my own.
Huh? Is this a drawing? Seems like it was done by my mother. This blonde man was probably my father. But who are the other people in the picture? Huh? Why do a few of them look somewhat familiar? From the dates in the notebook, she probably drew this more than 30 years ago. I hadn't even been born yet. Maybe we were thinking too much. Oh, and there are a few lines written in the diary about this as well.
The one who invited us to the gathering is a talkative woman. Including us, 3 couples showed up. There was also a person who came alone. The talkative woman introduced everyone to each other. She spoke really quickly, so I couldn't quite catch everything she said. But I also didn't feel like asking her to repeat herself. My husband seems to be friends with the man with long ears. I couldn't really join their conversation, so I resigned myself to sitting in a corner and drawing in my notebook. I don't think I'd be able to become friends with any of these people, especially that stiff-looking couple. That man is certainly very handsome, but he would constantly alternate between disjointed and serious ways of talking. His wife is a bit more variable. We were not acquainted with each other to begin with, and I doubt we'll see each other again after this gathering. The ambiance of this gathering is surprisingly pleasant, however. Talking to people can allow us to find some peace after a long day. Maybe my son will also partake in these gatherings in the future. I hope he'll be able to make many friends.
Who would have thought my mother used to attend that kind of thing? It seems she was only good at talking about her own work, and found it difficult to join into other conversations. As a result, she often kept to herself and would be off to the side, drawing. There's more written on the back. Oh, it seems like it was written to me.
Kaveh. I was both overjoyed and distressed when I learned of your decision to continue your studies in Kasharwar. You are very talented, and I am confident that you will become an architect of much acclaim. However, the more talented you are as an artist, the more misery and anguish you may encounter. No one will be able to help you during your journey as an artist. But outside of your life as a creator, you can learn to form connections with other people and enjoy many other things in life. It's the only way to alleviate your suffering. Whenever you feel down, seek out a friend to sit and have a chat. You can accumulate joy and fulfillment by spending time with them. The positive feelings you gain will get you through the long and difficult years. Never forget that companionship is the most important thing of all.
So that's the answer she prepared for me. She really thought long and hard about me and my future. Well, now that I've read her words, do you think I should accept Tainari's invite and attend that dinner at RGCI? The thought definitely crossed my mind. Although it'd be nice to get together with friends and chat the night away, I don't want to bring down other people's moods because I'm sad. Besides, don't most people hate the feeling of seeing their friends troubled and being unable to help? And what's worse, nearly all of my problems can't be easily resolved with some encouraging words or gesture. And don't forget, I'm also older than all of them. As their senior, I should appear to be a bit more responsible. You're not wrong, but I keep feeling like I haven't really helped them much in return. Wait, do you mean it? You're not making fun of me, are you? I've gotten so used to sarcasm that I can't tell what's genuinely a compliment anymore. Wait, by fun, did you mean... You know what, I'm not going to overthink it. I'll see you tomorrow at Hardy's DI.
Yay, he's going. Oh, for God's sake. I hate the time mechanic. Tinary. Tinu.
Oh, Haytham also got my invite, right? Will he be coming to join us?
That guy? He's never been a fan of social gatherings. I wouldn't get my hopes up if I were you.
Are you sure? Alright then. I guess we won't wait for you.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, maybe we should give him a little more time. We can keep chatting for a while longer.
Oh, sure.
You still haven't told me, what's the occasion for getting us together here at Hardy's DI?
We're celebrating the end of the first phase of Kaveh's studies. I wanted to thank you all for the help you've given her along the way.
Then where's Kaveh?
She said she wanted to show everyone a bit of what she's learned, so she's still doing some last-minute prep at home. She'll be here shortly. Anyway, let's get started. To tell you the truth, I'm actually not so confident that the second phase will go as well as the first. The curriculum will become a lot more involved, and I'm worried that she won't be able to get through all of it. I was hoping we could brainstorm about it together before she gets here.
I knew this wouldn't be just a simple free dinner. Is that why you also invited all Haytham?
Yes, I thought it would be good if we could all put our heads together about this. Anyway, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. What did you guys do when you ran into a problem that you didn't know how to solve? Or got assigned a project that you knew you weren't going to finish on time?
Never happened to me.
I'd just pull another all-nighter.
You two are hopeless. Does anyone have a more useful answer to the question?
Ooh, that's a good point. Confidence is the most important thing. Once you lose your sense of confidence, it'll become all but impossible to find the motivation to study.
This could be a potential direction. I have already redesigned the literacy curriculum, and I was originally hoping to ask Haytham for his opinion. But
It's very simple. Instead of focusing on the amount of material you would like to teach, focus on the amount the student will be able to remember.
Wow, you actually showed up. I could probably count the number of times you've actually come to gatherings like this on just one hand.
It's still more than the number of times you've managed to get a proposal approved on the first try.
As long as you're still aware. So, what made the difference this time? You looking to drink your sorrows away with some friends?
That's your purpose for being here, not mine. Don't project your ways of thinking onto me.
So you're saying the only reason you came is to help Tainari with his brainstorming?
Precisely. Kaveh will have a long road in front of her.
Hey, just to get one thing clear. Even if Kaveh manages to make her way to the academia, we cannot let her enroll in her habitat. Pisharwar is obviously the best choice for her. She's been a trainee forest ranger for so long, she'll definitely be good with her hands.
What are you saying? Spawn Tamad is the better choice. It's where I graduated from, after all.
Then what about Amorta? That's the Darshan her master actually graduated from.
There are only 2 other Darshans left. We might as well select all of them on her enrollment application.
I'm trying to have a serious discussion here. Traveler, you aren't associated with any of the 6 Darshans. In your opinion, which Darshan would be the best choice for Kaveh?
Well said.
agreed. And my goal in inviting you here was to gather some thoughts on the execution of this second phase.
Phase 2 far exceeds Phase 1 in both curriculum complexity and speed of instruction. I hope Kaveh has prepared herself for what is coming.
Hey, what are you thinking now? Please don't tell me you're planning on lending her those abstruse books from your home library.
Actually, I was thinking about lending her a professions guide.
I'll make sure to write, "Don't become an architect," on the front page of that. You're right. I can't deny that.
Is there another phase after Phase 2? What's the ultimate goal of all of this? Are we trying to prepare her for a job in the academia?
We don't need to think that far ahead. Hold that thought, though. I think my vegetables are done.
I'm telling you, that client had no idea what he was talking about. No matter what I did, he had something bad to say about it.
Have you considered finding another client?
They're all the same. I haven't had a good night's sleep for months now. Who do they think they are, ordering me to alter my design over and over again just because they have some moron?
It's too late now to change careers. You might as well try to find some joy in the pain. Besides, you'll be getting up in the middle of the night to make edits to your own design even when the client doesn't request it.
No! That's not true!
Cheer up, Kaveh. I'll tell you a new joke.
We'll save that for the end, Sino. You can keep it to yourself until then.
Aww.
Whatever. I'm not going to use my brain anymore. Let's drink tonight to our heart's content.
Yeah, that looks familiar. Let's see if I can skip through.
Alhaitham isn't in. Oh, nothing. I just didn't realize how much time had passed. I'm happy for her. Anyway, enough about that.
I do enjoy these, but they're quite slow.
What are all these things?
I can't skip.
Obviously, I will
Skipping is worse than this than it is in the main quest.
I admit that I made... Anyway, my build... Oh, I was super proud. Unfortunately, it was only a few days later that my mother took me... She didn't scold me. Let's see, is there anything else left in this box? This was my... when I was a child. If only I could... Hey, it's not a who knows? Maybe this... I could tell what you were thinking. I've tried my name, I've even tried stuff. I wouldn't try that route again. Yeah, you're right. Everyone's life journey is different. Traveler, you've visited many lands and met many people. So I'm sure you've run into situations where some advice wasn't exactly suitable for the situation at hand. I just got an idea though. If I want to rekindle the creative passion that I had before, instead of trying to unlock an old notebook, why don't I take a walk around the parts of town that have changed my life? What do you think? I'm glad you agree. Then let's start by taking a quick stroll around the academia. all the places in the academia, I remember this one most. When my studies got busy, I used to pull all-nighters here trying to finish my blueprints. Who doesn't miss their time at the academia? Life was a lot simpler then. We all had far less troubles. I created many designs that I thought were beautiful in the House of Dana. I drew whatever came to mind, since I didn't have to care about budget constraints or turning them into reality. If I had to give a reason, it'd probably be because I like the ambiance here. The academia also had a rule that allowed scholars to annotate any physical books they came across. As a result, the books here are chock full of scholars' wisdom across many generations.
Kaveh, I love you, but Jesus, this is slow.
Here, this is a great example. This book, History of Ancient Sumeru Architecture, contains some analysis that I did many years ago. Huh? Why is Al-Haytham's handwriting also in here? When did he ever read this book? I guess it's probably from when we worked on that research project together. Anyway, he probably never cared to tell you this, but the House of Dana is where Al-Haytham and I first met. I came here to do my homework. Saw him sitting by himself next to that row of bookshelves. A group of Haravatat scholars were chatting near him, but he looked as if he was too lazy to join them. There was a pretty stark difference between him and all the rest of them. It was my fault for feeling bad for him. I thought he must have gotten into some kind of trouble and went over to ask if he needed anything, not realizing that you were in fact the one in a whole heap of trouble.
Just because I can hear him, can't see him.
Oh, why are you here?
The House of Dana is a public space. Anyone can come here, no?
But shouldn't you be at the records room at this hour?
Pardon me.
You're not here to watch me make a fool of myself, are you?
You think I would derive amusement from watching you fall into depression over your life's various troubles? If that's the case, then I suppose I must have been entertaining myself for years. I came here to pick up a few files. If your voice hadn't managed to get through my soundproof earpieces, I probably wouldn't have noticed you.
All right. I admit I was probably overreacting just now. Yeah, probably not when he's right here with us. As his senior, I shouldn't try to tarnish his reputation.
There was nothing embarrassing or shameful about it. When I was still a student at the academia, I once collaborated with Kaveh on a research project. A collaboration is usually beneficial for all parties, but due to issues with our personalities, we ended up going our separate ways before completing the project. We had a number of differences, and they remain unresolved even today. But there's no point going into that right now. The more important question is, why are you at the House of Dana?
As a senior scholar, isn't it my responsibility to offer my friend a quick tour and explanation of the academia's architecture?
I see. Then let me guess. Your next stop will be the pavilions around the Zan Garden? Our famed architect sure loves showing off that corner to all his friends. Oh, and Kaveh. A lot of the books you annotated have been moved to the innermost section of that bookshelf over there. You'll have to dig them out yourself if you need to find them.
Huh? But why would you know that? Don't tell me you finally had an epiphany and realized that there's great virtue in respecting your elders' work.
Sure, if that will give you some self-confidence. Leave any words of thanks you may have to the ex-Grand Conservator. The last time he was here, he was complaining that he had received reports from current students. The main grievance being that the annotations are too long and difficult to read. As a result, the books you annotated have been moved to the back shelves.
What? But all of my annotations were extremely important. Instead of reporting me, they should have been thanking me for my service. The notes that I took? They couldn't have asked for a better analysis of those books. Okay, just you wait. I'm going to fix this right now. I'll dig all the books out and return them to the proper shelves.
Oh, we'll wait. Anyway, you were about to say he's feeling a bit down? Put through the ringer. What an interesting phrase. I assume he used those exact words himself. He probably did suffer quite a bit, that's true. He always spends a lot of time editing his proposals, with the goal of satisfying as many of the client's preferences as possible. But the satisfaction of one client will not translate to general satisfaction with his work. Many problems in life can only be solved by a fundamental change of attitude. As the leading genius of Kshatriyar, Kaveh should have both the right and the confidence to reject any unreasonable demands. There are plenty of architects in Sumeru who are inferior to him in skill, yet far more irascible in temperament. What's more, there are plenty of people who look up to such individuals as paragons of staying true to one's principles. Clearly, his predicament is inevitable, since he holds other people's feelings as more important than his own. Of course, each person is different, and we should respect the paths that they have chosen for themselves. Admonitions will serve no purpose. People tend to succumb to familiar pitfalls, and this is especially true for those who believe it's their duty to carry more burdens on their shoulders.
No, he cares.
Looks like you were having an enjoyable chat while I was gone. Were you talking about me by any chance?
What do you think?
What else is there to talk about? Surely no one would be interested in talking about the files that you were browsing through earlier. Anyway, you should take a look at this. Look at this comment on page 82. Dear Kaveh, thank you so much for annotating this book in such detail. It was a great help to me. See that? Now that's how a student should treat their seniors.
And it looks like you're already in a much better mood now. It really doesn't take much to make you happy, huh?
Me? Happy? I'm mocking that retired blockhead for being so full of himself. He understands nothing about the true beauty of architecture. When I can find some time, I'll have a serious talk with him about making sure these books are put where they belong.
Why don't you just move all the books yourself? It's not like he hasn't cursed you out before. What was that nickname he gave you while you were in the academia? The Urchin of Kshatriyar? Kaveh had a habit of scribbling and writing in all kinds of books.
Hey! You didn't need to bring that up. At least not when I'm still standing here. Oh, actually, I also found a really old sketch in one of the books over there. See? Doesn't it remind you of something? Huh? Don't tell me even you don't get it.
Don't ask me. This is the time you specifically put aside to brag about yourself. Feel free to hoard all the spotlight you want.
You? In that case, allow me to explain. Although this sketch is a little abstract, you can plainly see from the road plans that this was an original concept for the expansion of Port Ormos.
We can also plainly see that the designer was a huge fan of this project. It's the project he loved to talk about the most, second to the Palace of Alcazar's.
If I don't keep bringing up the neat projects that I've done, how would anyone know that I was the one who did them in the first place? There shouldn't be any complaints about Port Ormos. If I remember correctly, the construction process was very smooth. Everything was made ready ahead of time, and there were very few safety concerns.
There are indeed no records of any complaints about this project. A most impressive achievement.
See? What did I tell you? Come on, let's take a stroll through Port Ormos next. I'll tell you all about the designs I made for the place.
No need. It's almost time to clock out for the day, and I don't intend on bringing any unfinished work home.
Suit yourself. It's not like you know how to appreciate artistry anyway. Let's go, traveler. I'll take you to Port Ormos.
I knew about the palace. I didn't know he'd done Port Ormos. And he's gone. Cool. Port Ormos.
Ormos. No, I didn't design any one specific building. Most of my work here concerned structural renovation. Fort Ormos had already existed since I was still a young child. It wasn't as large as it is now, though. It only came to its current size after a sizable expansion. I was part of that project. The arch bridge over there, for example. That was one of my designs. When I was first tasked with the project, I decided to reference the growth patterns of nearby trees to split Fort Ormos into 2 levels. My goal was to improve the overall utilization of space. We ran into a lot of issues during construction, but thankfully, we were still able to achieve the original vision. Residents can now behold all the ships entering and leaving the harbor from the vantage point of the bridge, while visitors can recognize the site of Port Ormos from a long ways away. I was still young and new to the trade back then. I could hardly believe that an idea in my head could become reality and remain in the world for many years to come. A true cornerstone of the creative process. The point about the design that will be ultimately used to judge its true worth. It was the first time that it became crystal clear in my mind. Once built, a building will continue to stand. Countless people will see it, and countless more will step inside it. Its final worth, whether it's good or bad, will be assessed by the countless generations of people that interact with the building during their lives. You think so? I'm glad to hear that. But even with this project, I still had one small regret. My budget was tight, and I was unable to use the higher quality timber I had originally intended for the design. I knew that some concessions on aesthetics would be needed as soon as I agreed to a proposal that prioritized the practical functions of the project. Us creative types know better than anyone that most projects cannot be completed without a few regrets. Even the palace of Alcazar's was not perfect. Yeah, you're right. I should learn to look toward future opportunities, and believe that any regrets I have can be overcome in time. We've spent long enough here. There's still one last place I want to go, but it's a little far. Would you be interested in a quick trip to the desert? Great. Most of my projects over the last few years have had something to do with the desert, partially because there's a special place there that I often visit. This is a rare opportunity, so why don't you come along and see it for yourself? If you ever feel down, maybe you'll be able to go there and feel better too.
Jesus, dude, could you be any further?
Who would have thought that so many primal constructs could have congregated here while I was gone? You won't be able to sit and talk peacefully with these guys around. Let's clear the area.
Really? You took my Kaveh from me, so I'm technically a character down.
Scanning.
Hear me.
Right clear. Engine clear. Come at me.
Let's light it up.
Right clear. Getting here.
Teamwork is tricky.
Feast your eyes. Come at me. Scanning. Come at me. Hey, getting here. Scanning. Isn't this place great? I often come here to clear my mind when I'm dealing with a difficult situation. You know what I mean. Everyone finds themselves in frustrating situations once in a while. Just take me as an example. My family life got shaken up quite a bit when I was young. I struggled in school, I got into a huge pile of debt building the Palace of Alcazarzaray. Although Hatham thinks that it's because of my personality that I continue to live in the shadow of the past. I think it's also just a part of life. Plus, if I look back, I've honestly had my fair share of good luck as well. You could probably say I followed in the path of my mother. Like her, I gained a name for myself as an architect, built something that's seen as my magnum opus, and found many projects that others have entrusted to me to finish. Life is too boring when you live with no enthusiasm and passion. Only those who believe in the inherent meaning of it can capture the small nuances of everyday life and turn them into inspiration for beautiful designs. Of course, I will concede that loving something also means taking it to heart. So to an extent, caring is also a source of pain. If I didn't love my work, I wouldn't be so torn up about it all the time. But still, isn't this place beautiful? Despite the erosion from the winds and changing seasons, you can still perceive its past beauty and glory. With different landforms come different architectural styles. The desert's history has left it with few records regarding its buildings, so I often visit the desert to investigate things in person. The sight here has moved me ever since the first time I laid my eyes on it. I told myself that one day, I would also be able to create buildings that move others. My pain will one day fade into nothing, just as I've reached the end of my life. But buildings are different. They are far more valuable than most materialistic things, and far more durable than human flesh. As long as there remain souls in the world who can decipher the meaning behind them, they will also have acknowledged me across the vast stream of time. If you were to ask me what art is, that would be my answer. You think so? But I feel I've always been like this. Remember that question I brought up before? The one about whether I should see art as a divine gift of inspiration from the gods, or as a product of my own existential struggle. I still haven't found an answer to that yet. But if art wasn't inherently paradoxical and enigmatic, then people probably wouldn't be drawn to it. Those who pursue art will be unable to avoid the pain that it naturally brings. I'll often be floating on cloud 9 one second, and sinking in a mire the next. I'll try gathering my thoughts again once I've found a way to define art in the first place. In any case, thank you so much for listening to everything I had to say.
I don't know. I don't really agree with him with the whole in-depth, like heart to heart, like, yeah. I don't agree with any of that when it comes to art. Not really. I don't know. I think that's one thing we would disagree on.
And stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass of...
I know you're already keeping that guy, though. Another glass.
You got it, sir.
It really is. Perhaps getting... I would spend a lot of... I suppose, though, all of this makes...
Here's your drink.
Boss?
The meaning of it. Anyway, I don't...
What do you think? No worries. It's been bothering... He understands nothing about my design. And all the suggestions... Okay, it is... Well, there's no time to wait.
I'm just gonna maybe like sort of skip through these bits. Jesus Christ.
Kaveh,
I've changed
my apologies as well. I choose you to create...
Thank you for understanding. To be perfectly honest, even now, I still know nothing. I am aware that I've produced several drafts.
Yes, I've given this some thought. It's just...
Hmm?
Putting the building design aside. The timber here as well.
Please give me a... So, let me get this straight. You want to reduce the cost of the prop. Architectural design cannot be neatly split into discrete parts. Same with the tile. If all you need is a building with a roof that can keep...
Actually,
I think the most...
I want to build something new. I want all who in...
It's a bit more, and we've gone through many.
Thank you for giving it so much thought. We still have a few business...
I also have a similar feeling. Is that... He does seem really... That's actually pretty common. The more Mora some people have, actually... Now that who knows how long construction will... Where did he go? I could have sworn he went this way. Let's keep looking. Hey, look! Isn't that...
Didn't I tell you before? I'm not with us. Aren't you a bit...
Oh, you won't have to worry about that. I grew up as an Eremite mercenary. I don't have many...
You used to be
I know there are a lot of bad apples.
I'm sorry, but...
Okay.
He used to be a member of the Eremites? Huh.
Oi, liar, come here.
We meet again? That's what we wanted to ask you. There's no need for us to
Believe me, I didn't... All right.
A library? I've heard that the academia will...
You're right. And I was aware the desert is too vast. And what's more, all I know is that as a desert, I don't have much longer left on this world. So I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert.
To the point that you even disguised your identity? That's certainly taking plain...
When I first came to Sumerus, someone agreed to take on the project. After that, I heard that they spent a while collecting other way. How did you know?
Just a hunch. A while ago, I ran into someone who was living in a pretty run-down house. He said that he had no way to pay for it, so I loaned him some of my own Mora, and told him to get... After that, he even borrowed Mora from me twice. According to him, I looked like an easy target.
Those kinds of things do happen.
It's all right. Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything to do with it. Yeah, you'll find both. Anyway, I digress.
That's what I was afraid of. I've done the math, and know that so...
By cobbled together,
To be honest, I have all I wanted to build this life a while ago. I know the desert life, so even if the acad...
Yes, my father passed away at an early age. I'm sure a child coming all the way from... But let's bring this back. Building it according to the current plan will be... Sponsor the project? That does make sense. What do you think? If we could...
It's all fine with...
Well... You're right. If I really... Her? Hard pass. With her shrewd and greed... Now there... Let's go and...
It is weird that he didn't bring us here to show off. And it is weird that this is Dory's house. And it's a palace. And it's Dory. Is it Dory's house? Because there's a lot of like people around. And if it was someone's house, you wouldn't hang around, you know. I don't know.
Now here's some honey. When I saw Kaveh, I almost thought it must be that time of month again.
Hey, can't you think of something else for a change? You are literally... What is the point of wealth, anyway? Is your...
That's exactly right. Maybe ask me. The place is still way too empty. Just give me some time.
You're hopeless.
Oh, so you have an actual race of merchants. Oh, let's see. So you're right.
I knew you wouldn't be interested in something like this.
Sure. Of course. Making sense we've known each other for so long, though.
500,000? Besides, by helping us out, you'd be doing a...
Three of my business partners came by earlier. Right here.
I don't like Dory, like, whatsoever. I just don't like her character.
Introduction about the two of you. You are Kaveh, to be frank. I don't... Alright, here's the situation.
So it's a...
Correct.
Then the commission fees will likely be very low. You should be careful.
I'm not too concerned about how much I'll get for the commission fees, actually.
So what? Besides, what does the library in the desert have to do with us?
Hey, there's no need to be so harsh. They are Dory's associates after all. So we'd mostly...
Well, just speaking...
I also have a concern.
Then how about this? What if, instead of...
Wouldn't that just...
Yes. But if...
I'll just give an example. If we were to build a library and a school near Aru Village, then the desert, a whole suite of buildings will be... I've been to the desert several times.
Education in the desert is indeed an
And you just believe...
Even the greenest amateurs know that urban planning...
Wait, something just occurred to me. But it seems we're not the only ones without...
What?
What?
In other words, if we want to build a suite of buildings focused on education and culture...
Then there's no hurry. We can wait for Aru Village to develop.
But...
Is there nothing else to discuss?
Great timing!
I'll be off as well. You have any...
It seems like the others are not interested.
Hey! Well, what can I say? Yeah, it's just another... Looks like we'll have to figure out some other...
Well, why not just choose a different part of the desert?
Oh,
Please don't tell me...
what kind of person even trying to talk about the project?
This isn't just... also, if you already knew, no one would want...
You might want to remember who...
I'll pay back every last...
Alright, since you're so devastated. In fact, I'll be in
What? So...
on me.
God, why does everyone walk so slow? Move your tiny legs. I mean, even Kaveh gotta stop.
It's the place.
You said you're going to introduce us.
You still don't get it,
Huh? So you met yourself?
Well, I've given it some thought, and that'll be a pretty big worst thing, and I'll have to fund it all on my own.
Seriously? Where's this generosity
The
coming?
reasons are not important. However, you know just as well as me that once this project actually breaks through,
I get it. I won't charge any commission.
splendid.
Of course, there are a few things I must thank you as well, Dory. I used to say you own... Now, let's have a quick discussion. Where...
There's no rush. I'll provide you with a copy of the deed when we get back. You can just use the...
Huh? The deed? So hold on a sec. The person who had...
Oh my, did I not tell you? So, from my perspective, this...
But what about my commission fees?
Huh? Did you waive those yourself? I was just gonna say that to cut costs. We mustn't procrastinate, but before I could finish my sentence...
It's obvious that you used every trick in the book to deceive me.
Huh? You really think so? Well, the contract's already been signed, so there's no point of...
Fine. I'll drop the argument on the commission. I'm going to order the best it...
that's still like a huge loss of time when you think about it. Like how much time will go into that project? Because he can't take on any other commissions, can he?
We meet? That's what we want. There's no need,
Believe me,
our library. I've heard that the academy.
you're right. The desert is too vast. And what's all I know, I don't have much longer left. I didn't want you to.
To the point that you even.
When I first, someone agreed. After that, I spent a while out of the way.
Just a hunt. I ran into someone. He said that he had. After that, according to him,
Those kinds of.
it's ultimately neither of our. Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
That's what I was afraid. I've done the math, so.
By.
To be honest, all I want is to build this library a while ago. I heard that the academia. I know the desert life. So even if the.
Yes, my father passed. I'm sure a child, but let's bring building it according to. Slightly different stuff. Most architects would probably prioritize cutting costs and removing extra features in this. While it's true that the aesthetic value of it, to completely give up on the more aesthetic design would mean stripping the. However, we can reduce the ornate to make up for the loss of regular details.
I see.
It just increases the difficulty of the design. You should feel luck as for inspiration.
Aru Village. Although,
Okay, then we can pay.
is there something I can do for
Let me think. You said you used to be an eremite merc. We want to keep the roads clear.
All right, just
What are you waiting for then?
He's gonna end up offering to pay for everything, isn't he? Mwah. Thank you. I was wondering where that shadow was.
Going from Caravan Rebus.
Aru Village would pass through here. There are a lot of monsters out here today. If you find it hard to keep up, just let us know.
Oh, don't worry about me. This is nothing. I'll be careful, though, and you should do...
Let's fight some more. Jesus, dude.
Light it up!
I still haven't found like a really effective method on the fungi. Because I think I've gone through all of the, what do you call elements, let's say. I still can't find like a proper...
Light it up!
Like it's not bad, don't get me wrong. But it's like, it feels like it can be better. Where the hell did you come from? Bye-bye. Ugh.
Everybody stand back! Barbados! Goodness!
Breaking new ground! Come at me!
And what's that leaf that suddenly started appearing?
Sight clear!
Burn, you chicken.
Come at me!
I'm fine. But it's one thing to... I don't think much of it. Few mercenaries...
There's someone you know?
Unfortunately, sometimes I joined the Aramat if at all possible.
I think it's really admirable. Maybe he's doing this out of natural kindness. Kindness that hasn't been eroded away by the struggle. Perhaps. Some people call me an but my situation is more complex. When I was young, I impulsively encouraged my father to take part in the first Inter-Darshan Championship, hosted by the Academia. He set off confidently hoping to win something for me, but failed to clinch the title. What's more, he fell into depression after the competition, and requested to join an investigative research project in the desert. I never saw him again. Word has it that he got caught in quicksand. Even if other factors may have contributed to his death, the fundamental cause still circles back to me.
I don't think so. I really don't.
Because I wanted to make amends. Even in cases where I couldn't do it at this point, I've tried self-reflection, but maybe it's just like what those I could be doing things anyway. I've known all hate. He told me I still believe I should. Unfortunately, as you can see, and when I finally, someone will help. But you helped me either way. All right, let's head.
Hello. Go. Am I going in there? I don't think so. The fact I can just randomly walk in here.
Here is my part. It's my toolbox. I built it using an ancient mechanical core. It's not too smart, but it's super useful and can help me with a variety of tasks. I'll take Barak and find a suitable location for the building.
Traveler?
Ah, you know each other?
Hello. I suppose you must be Kaveh.
Educational assistance programs.
I can't say I'm too familiar.
I've been commissioned by Mr. Badawi to build a library in...
A library?
That's right. I want to make sure that...
That's fantastic. I'm sure the children will be thrilled.
Let me get straight to my questions then. Can you estimate the number of... Oh, and have any landslides occurred here recently? Alright, Badawi, let's go over the budget again. The parts of the project that cost the most will be the I want to make significant changes to the arrangement of the bookshelves, tables, and chairs. Our final cost should be around 70% of the last figure I quoted. The whole Barak has produced a sketch for all of you to see. The inspiration just came to... I must give you credit, though. According to the traditions of my profession, I should... In the meantime, let's look for...
Cool. What am I missing? That was a good freeze frame. Can we get a skip button?
Actually, while we're on that, anyway, stress is just
Come on, my baby.
being a working adult. Boss, you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass?
I know you're already keeping this guy, though. Another glass.
You got it, sir.
It really is. Perhaps getting used to would spend a lot of... I suppose, though, all of this makes...
Here's your drink.
Boss?
For me enough. Anyway, I don't know.
What do you think? Yes. Art, let's say that I built the problem is... Sounds great. A different career? I think I've heard a saying somewhere before. It's just a saying, of course. And if I want to make more... Hold on. I just remembered that I used to have... Maybe I'll be able to get some...
So you're gonna become like a gardener or something? That'd be funny. Like, what other job would Kaveh do? Hello, good sir. Hello.
Kaveh, it's you.
Yeah, it's been a long time, Alkami.
I heard that you were the genius behind the palace. Art to make a profit. Unless the clients fled before they... Well, I understand. Either way, I obviously never happened. Not judging from the look on your face. With that said...
Are you serious? But something like that has got to be some kind of top level. Besides, I don't want to just...
Oh, you're too compared to the classes taught by the unlike the academia. It just so happens that I've put arts in the day.
Ah, so you want me to join you as an instructor? What do you think, Traveler?
Then it's a deal.
Yes, it's a deal.
Oh, what cash you pay?
300,000?
It would seem that your 300,000 is also just the... I have to go make some
I
preparations.
was never particularly close with Alkami. I've hosted free lectures before, but this would be my first... Thanks so much. Now, what should I... Alright, let's...
That should teacher makes sense. Or lecturer, whatever you call him. I don't know, it seems to fit him. But he'd be one of those lecturers that would just waffle on and on and on and wouldn't actually get to the point of the lesson. Am I missing something? Huh, him. Right.
I was up last night preparing for the
Lesson plan. The training center has already developed its own set of... Sure. It's almost time for the lecture to start.
Ah, so you've already developed your own set of teaching materials. There's something else I want to ask, though.
No need to stress. There are 14 classes at my training center.
20 people.
Oh, and one last thing. In the interest of keeping it quiet, I'm sorry to say this, your friend will have to wait.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's gonna be fake.
Hey there. Can I help you? Oh, Kami. I heard you earned a fortune working as a the tuition wasn't sky high. Did you hear? Oh, Kami
And that'll be.
really makes you jealous, eh? If you think about it, well, Kami was never that talented himself.
That's true, but you gotta admit, his advertisements are really for those who can't pass the exam, or who just want to jump straight into the industry.
Man, to have that. Alright, class is over, so we can just chat for a bit. I shouldn't have lost my temper.
No, you weren't scary at all, Mr. Kaveh.
Oh, don't get me started. I was trying to use Alkami's materials, so I flipped through some Alkami may fool an amateur, but he can't fool anyone who's active in our profession. In my opinion, the most important skill of an architect is their ability. There are tens of thousands of buildings in the world. The architects who can critically evaluate the quality and fit of different designs, all these students are doing in class is rote memorization of existing designs. They are learning nothing. How can they expect to become real architects? When they're done with this class, all they'll become are dilettantes with a...
But, Mr. Kaveh, we didn't really understand. What's the big deal anyway? It's not like we're...
You're studying architecture?
Yeah. Why else would we be studying here? My biggest dream is to become someone like Mr. Alkami.
Huh. In that case, I'm afraid you'll probably be disappointed.
But how? He also said that as long as we graduate from this class, ways upon it won't be long before I...
Come on.
But
You... It's pointless. Let's go, Traveler.
Yep, like I said, fake.
What's wrong, Kaveh? You look one of the students, not a student, feel like it? I must have...
Yeah, I'm mad at them. I'm even more upset that you're scamming people. Students are all here hoping for a quick way to make money. If your client is unhappy, you can't break ground. And the longer a project goes, the longer it takes for you to get paid in full. You know all of this.
Look, you may deny it all you want, but it's a fact that in today our clients care very little. Why should we cling on to a profession that's difficult? It's near impossible.
Wait, how does that make any sense?
We are already stuck, my friend. That's right. None of the students will have more students, I guess.
And then what? Once they graduate, they'll still find out the truth about when that happens. Your facade.
But that's just one way to look at the problem. Oh, and also, I never actually promised that they would achieve. I'm not even scared if they do come back and stir up trouble.
How can you sleep at night knowing that you're doing all... I can't believe that I once saw you as a...
And that same goes to you. How many years has it been since you graduated from the academia? Only fools will see art as revered. I urge you to think as the light of the shallow are. You've accumulated plenty. Think it over, Kaveh.
I'm so mad. I feel a headache coming on. Of course. I'm sure you realize that as long as I remained at this center, he is right about one thing, though. These kinds of training centers are after the most they can accuse him of is false advertising. Oh? Did you notice something else? Yeah. The rate he gave me was 300,000 mora per lecture. That probably came out of the students. If you're gambling everything on making it rich as an architect, are you really going to have the mora to pay for that kind of right? We're never going to get any...
oh, Mr. Kaveh.
Class finished a while ago, but...
I wanted to stay for a little longer. I'm still thinking about everything.
Of course they were. All the... It's a good thing that you could recognize them for their...
Dress?
Yes. When I first, and for most people, just being able... Going from admiration to acceptance...
Just as I thought.
I'm sorry.
I understand. Thank you for... Sorry. I can't say anything.
Don't listen to him. I am the most famous...
Why would I pull your leg?
Then please keep this. Mr. Okami was the one who reached out to my parents. He told all the students that...
How much did your... And what was the interest?
I'm not really sure. My parents were...
Yeah, I have a bad feeling. We need to find that merchant to confirm. And if we were to confront him right, good idea.
We last saw him on the North Shore of Port...
Well, it'd still be worth taking a look. We need to do something before...
It's all one big scam. It's an MLM. Boom.
I don't think that you're Kaveh. Yes. Okami. My friend here wants to enroll in his architect.
Oh, sounds like his business.
Let me see.
Oof. You call that a bit short on money? Anyway, since you're here because of... here you go. Don't worry.
And what if they won't be?
What do you mean, won't be able to pay it back? Once you graduate from Okami's place, and even if you were to run into some difficulties, and it's hard work running a business. Anyway, there's no point.
I just did some calculations in my head. Of course, the contract did a great job of trying to obfuscate that fact. It only listed the amount that you'll have to repay every day, which gives the false... If you actually do the math, however, it's clear that the amount you need to pay on interest alone will amount to hundreds of thousands of... Even my creditor doesn't dare to raise rates that high. Once the family...
What are you trying to say, huh? I figured something was off when too many people are sticking...
Eremites. There are only a few of them, so they shouldn't pose...
Take a swim. Take a swim. Take a very big swim. Bennett, you're tiny. Bennett, this is pitiful. Swim.
I don't think we've done anything. Debt has the power to upend your whole life, but my debts are the culmination of these students are different. You sowed the dreams.
Everyone knows there's no such... And if we're going to talk about greed, aren't those students the ones who...
And here comes the people grow by learning from their mistakes. Let's head back to the academia.
Do 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 do. There he is.
Sino? Didn't think I...
Well, they still be in debt.
So I'm going over some cases at the academia.
Oh, can you imagine?
I see.
Walking into Sino.
30% indeed constitutes a crime, as it is highly likely that Okami is also benefiting from this scheme. Any funds we manage to recover from the suspects will be returned to the students.
That should still be enough. Anyway, thank you for your help.
And it's no trouble. It's just another day at work. Did you accept any more from...
He promised to pay me 300,000 more per lecture, but I resigned.
That's good.
What do you mean, that's good?
I wouldn't have gone that far. But, had he insisted that you were also an active participant in the schemes, either way, though...
Hey, what was that?
Never mind. That's fine.
Just messing with me now, aren't you?
Let's get back to business. If Okami's case can be successfully resolved, you'll be eligible for a monetary reward from the academia. Don't forget to pick it up after the fact.
I didn't even know there was such a thing. I never would have guessed.
The reward will be given regardless of your personal motivations. It was empty.
Fine.
Is there anything else?
I want to go back to the training center.
Sure. But you should wait until tomorrow.
All right. And I'll stay out of the...
I have a few other things to take care of, so I'll be off for now.
To think Alchemy would sink this low. Still, I think I feel it's a little ironic, but how should I put it? I'm pretty... The arguments are usually... Alchemy's suggestion would have allowed me to quit my life as every scholar, as they're just speaking for myself, though. If I stopped devoting everything, at that point, any materialistic ease I may have gained in... It's certainly not easy. My thanks again for being such a great help throughout all of it. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Either way, Kaveh gets screwed over. Like, he never gets anything. Or if he does, it's very little, like in the grand scheme of things. Good meat.
I never would have guessed Mr. Training Center has been shut down. Mr. Kaveh said we can keep working on our fundamental... Easier said than done. Only the best of the best. Mr. Kaveh might...
Why? What? So...
Huh?
Now, that's Mr. Kaveh. I'll keep instructing you for a while longer. Oh, also, I'm usually pretty busy. So I'll only be able to teach architecture fundamental. Architecture is not an easy profession. If you want to design safe buildings, you'll have to go through a system. Just as a heads up, all of this will be a huge step up from the superficial stuff you were learning before.
We'll try our...
Seem all right, everyone. Pack your stuff up. No need to prepare much for today's class. You'll know once we get there. Come on, let's get going.
Let me guess, the palace. No?
This lighthouse has been... The point of today is not so much... I just want you to take a look at it. Don't think about how you actually...
So, it could be...
Yep. As long as you think it'll look good. In my experience, it's best to approach both the study and... So at least for today, what do you think?
Teacup.